My Lord, she understood the question. And
No, I don't think she did. I think the question was deliberately asking it to you as you.
My Lord, that's what I asked.
As a layperson.
As a bystander, and a bystander.
No, my Lord. Her as a being a bystander. Her.
So I interpreted that as a layperson with no understanding of the court process. That would be my interpretation.
I hope by layperson you're referring to
a non-expert.
Reasonable person.
Yes.
Great. That's the test I am applying.
Yes.
So as a bystander, if you looked at a person having regular Zoom, telephone, and call conversations, you would...
I can see how that can be perceived as being bias. Okay. If they're a lay person, and don't understand the process.
Enough. Please. Now, Ms. Lin, you, and I don't intend to repeat what you said, but you told this court about several components of unsolicited information given to you by KAA. I want you to confirm that that information was not case relevant to your assignment, was it?
Some was, some wasn't.
Was it or it was not?
Some was, some wasn't. It depends on what I was reviewing. The information that I deemed pertinent has been disclosed in my report.
Okay, let's be particular. Did you find a charge sheet task relevant? Yes or no?
The what, sorry?
Did you find a charge sheet task relevant?
No.
Did you find the indictment task relevant?
No.
Did you find the GSR report task relevant?
No.
Did you find the medical document, police form 3 of Mole Katanga, task relevant?
Only for background information of the injury.
Please answer to the question of whether or not.
It's for background information to determine the injury she sustained.
Did you find it task relevant? You can see how simple my question is.
It didn't affect my final outcome, no.
I am not asking whether anything affected. I'm asking whether you found the medical document of that lady as given to you by KAA.
Objection, my lord.
Relevant.
Objection, my lord. The witness has answered. He said yes for background information. She said yes, but for background information.
My lord, can she answer again and as clear as possible, please?
So yes, I use the information in that for background information for the expectation of finding blood.
Let's begin with that. You know that the code mandates you to list all task-relevant information in your report. That's something that you know?
Yes, and I have.
Did you list the medical documents of Molly?
No, because it was background information only.
Did you list it?
I didn't need to if it's background information only.
Let court record. Ms. Lin, is it in your knowledge that your professional code prohibits you from seeing non-task relevant information prior to the conclusion of your report?
Sorry.
Is it a fact not known to you
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
that your code prohibits you from seeing any task-relevant information before the conclusion of your report?
And I must have information in order to robustly evaluate a case.
You are not aware whether your code restricts you from seeing non-task information before your report? Are you aware or you are not?
If it's totally irrelevant, then yes, but that medical report aided me in background information as to the likelihood
My
of blood.
question is general, it's not specific in
If
any
it's
way.
irrelevant, then yes, I don't look at it. Hence, I didn't read the gunshot residue report. It's irrelevant to my review.
The reason why you are prohibited from dealing or reading or even looking at non-task information is to safeguard you against bias.
Correct.
In fact, cognitive bias.
Correct.
We already know on record that you never utilized a process map. Actually, you said it doesn't exist as far as you are concerned.
I think she said that she does not understand
She does.
what process map
Yes.
is and what you referred to.
Exactly. Actually, I'm most obliged, my lord. You actually said you don't understand what process map is.
Yeah, in the context that you're asking. I'm not sure what you're actually asking.
Before we assess the context, let this court understand whether you actually know what a process map is in the context of forensic evaluation.
There's the process map that the analytical laboratories follow, and there is not necessarily referred to as a process map for evaluation, where it's the methodology that you go through, much like that paper that was presented for activity level. So there's different types of process maps, so it depends what you're referring to. They're very different depending on what process you're after.
Ms. Lin, first go back to your report again.
Yes.
Page 28.
Yes.
And 29.
Yes.
28, paragraph A that I read, 29, paragraph 1 that I read.
Yes.
When you made these two opinions, actually it's one opinion, but on the 2 pages, to the effect that the DNA findings relating to the pistol could be readily explained if Mole Katanga did not fire the pistol.
Yes, that's one explanation.
When you are subjecting your professional mind in arriving at this proposition, where you are assessing source level, activity level, or offense level, where At what level were you subjecting this proposition?
The evaluation is to fire the pistol, which is activity level.
Will you please provide this court with a
It's
clear
activity
answer?
level.
Activity level.
Yes.
As simple as that. You know, when you do, I am faster and I get done.
Don't worry, your lawyers are going to do all those
My
explanations.
lord, that is the third time they're asking the same question of activity.
That's why it should be easier for her to provide a clear answer.
But was it asked in relation to page 28 and 29?
Now,
Yes, my lord, specifically says was it activity? She answered.
In fact, in relation to whether
I-
it was offense
please
level,
wait.
source level, and activity level.
Same
The
one.
context.
I can even open and.
The context is different, just relax.
There is no context.
Interpretation.
Ampapula 28 na 29 ezekihandiiko kye akoleka nti ebyarugire omu kukeberwa kuno bikaba nibisobola kusoborwa kurungi muno ebikwatagana hali eiju eryarugire omu mundu bikanisobola kwetegerezebwa kurungi kandi okusoborwa kurungi kakuba mole atarasire isasi kandi kino akaba nasigikira hali ebyasangire ebyamuleteire okutekereza atyo baitu kitali nikyo ekyokucwamu ekyokumalira. Bino ebitekerezo bibiri bino tibiri nibyo ebyokumalira okurugira hali ebyasangire habwokuba kiri nikyo ekintu kyenyini ekyamalirire natunga kandi akacweka ka 20 mu kitabu ky'ebiragiro ekirema emirimo yaabo kikoleka nti haina kuba haloho obujulizi obukoleka nti ekihandiko kino ekoleka byona byazoire omu kihandiko kino baitu halimu ebirimu ebitahandikirwemu nti halimu butalimu bwakwaisa obukoleka nti omugulimo guno gukagarukwamu nakataito amanyire okubuzabuzibwa okwebitekerezo rundi okwokwenda kandi akimanyire tikiri kintu ekikwatibwaho rundi ekikurorwa baitu kiri kintu ekiri omu bwongo kandi ekikusobora kubaho omu misango emu n'emu kakusanga omuntu aba agwinamu ekintu kyona ekyakwenda orundi kakusangwa aba omuntu nakora nebitebe ebikwawukana ainaho kimu omulimo kandi okwandiika rundi okwoleka byona ebyakozeseize baitu kino ekihandiiko ekyakozeseize ekyokeberwa kwa mole ekyo tikina hali kihandiikirwe omukwetegereza kwe kandi omukumanyirira kwe kw'emirimu eno ayina okugirwa okuba atayina kurora ebintu ebitakwatagana nebyakora atakahikire hali ekyokukiwamu kandi kino kiba nikimukonyera okumulinda obutaba n'obwongo obukwekubira rundi obukucwamu ebintu ebitahikire byona kyona omu bintu byona ebyakoze baitu namanya nti haliho omulingo rundi haliho ekisani ekihonderwa omu bicweka ebikobererwamu obuba nibikora emirimo ekwisa n'eti kandi ebyahiremu rundi ebyahandikire ha rupapura 28 na 29 biri bintu ebyatungire obona yetegereza ebintu ebyakozerwe.
Okay, my lord, just 2 areas and we wind up. Ms. Lynn, you agree with us that an expert is under obligation to be independent, impartial, and to act with integrity?
Yes.
In your many years of practice, I believe you know. Don't you know that a report of an expert would be inadmissible in a court of law if the expert has been established to have acted in a breach of the Code for Independence, Impartiality, and Integrity?
Yes.
For purposes of our case, I want you to go to section 13.1.7.
Yes.
Can you read subparagraph 1?
Conflicts of interest, perceived or otherwise, and threats to impartiality may include a practitioner having or being perceived to have an interest in the outcome of the case, being coerced or having the... Oh, sorry, just the first.
Just A.
Please read again.
You may read again. 13.1.7A.
So A is having or being perceived to have an interest in the outcome of the case.
How about E? 13.1.7E.
Having not sought independent review of their critical findings.
If one doesn't seek independent review of their critical findings.
Yes.
The opinions would be inadmissible.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
How about F?
Being involved with activities that could be perceived as witness coaching or being coached rather than training or familiarization.
So if you could be perceived as having been coached,
Yes.
you agree that your report would be inadmissible.
Yes.
About H.
Having a close/significant personal or financial relationship with a party likely to be affected by the outcome of either the practitioner's work and/or the case.
That would also invalidate your report if it is established.
Yes.
Now, I want to take you to section 13.1.5.
Yes.
Yeah, point 1.5. Now, this section in your code is the safeguard for eliminating cognitive bias.
Yes, that's possible. Yes.
Okay. So, as an expert, you are required to undertake the provisions of this section for purposes of demonstrating that you are not cognitively biased.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Read the provision to court. 13.1.5.
The process map required to assess data integrity, as in section 26.1.3, should be used in the development of the procedure for the forensic science accreditation. The process map should assess the risk of cognitive bias. If identified as a risk, non-task relevant information should be held back until completion of the stages which may be influenced by such information.
We already have it on record that you found the 50 plus photographs informative
Yes.
in your work.
Yes, again for background information.
Regardless. Did you find the indictment informative as well?
No.
Why do you say so?
What an individual has been charged with doesn't inform my scientific opinion.
Did you find the charge sheet informative as well?
No.
Did you find the gun residue report informative or not?
No, it was irrelevant to my review.
Confirm to this court that your report has no indication, even by way of annexure, as to how or when you determined that these 3 or more pieces of information were irrelevant to your task?
We
Did
don't-
you indicate
We
anywhere?
We don't disclose that. We only disclose what is relevant.
To plainly put it, did you develop any process map in the process of your work?
There is
Did you
no,
or you did not?
there's no process map to formulate.
Did you indicate anywhere in your report that you received the charge sheet, indictment, GSR report, but found them irrelevant?
No, we don't disclose
You
that.
never disclosed the fact of receipt.
We don't.
Again, when you say we don't, hmm? Mhm. When you say we don't, I believe you have a legal basis for not doing so. Do you?
It's standard practice. We don't disclose what's not relevant to us. I routinely receive case bundles of 10,000 pages plus and only refer to those documents which are relevant to my review. Our reports are fit for purpose for our examination and do not contain absolutely everything we do.
Ms. Lynn, I want to thank you for your responses. The rest is for us now.
Thank you.
My Lord, that's all from us.
Thank you, Mr. Mwagani.
My Lord, we're going to start our re-exam. Propose, my Lord, you give us about 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we'll just want to just wrap up for today. We are ready for all the other days, but the one of today, then we'll be back. So, if we can be back by 11, I see it's 11:09. We'll be back by 11:30. So my Lord, they stand
Those
over.
will be 20 minutes. Will
Oh.
that be enough? And the one is saying no. Someone is
But
shaking.
they
Okay.
will be enough, my Lord. 11:30 is okay. We want to make sure we finish today.
So you propose we start at midday today? We break off and come back at midday.
Okay. Much obliged, my Lord.
All right, adjourn till midday.
details states, the review of this case has been carried out by me. A full record of the work that has A full record of the work that has been undertaken is contained within the case notes made at the time of the examination, and these are available for inspection if necessary. And then the findings have been peer-reviewed and independently agreed by another competent practitioner.
So now it has become necessary. So can you show us the peer review?
Yes, all our case details are stored on a Google Drive. And in this instance, this is one of the peer review. Because of the nature of the case, the contents of the statement are very bespoke. So it's gone through numerous checks. But you can see here, the file is entitled Witness Statement Checked. And throughout, if it lets me show everything here, these are comments by my peer reviewer, Joe Millington. And throughout the document is this, and any subsequent changes are agreed, checked. So this demonstrates the peer review of my statement.
Okay. Okay, so it was reviewed by, it shows who reviewed it. Could you just repeat that again, sorry? It was reviewed by?
My colleague, Joe Millington.
Okay, you can go back to the report.
Yes.
And you said that it's available for inspection. Has anyone asked you for that inspection?
No.
You were also asked extensive questions about bias and conflict of interest.
Yes.
Ms. Hingley, do you address those? Do you address those issues in your report at all, and if so, how?
Under the declaration at the end of the report. Sorry. Point 2 states, I confirm that I have not entered.
What page is that, sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is page 36 of 37.
Page 36 and 37, and point what?
Point 2.
Okay.
It says, I confirm that I have not entered into any arrangement where the amount of payment or my fees is in any way dependent on the outcome of the case. And point 3 is, I know of no conflict of interest of any kind other than any which I have disclosed in my report, and I have signed this declaration.
What about point 1?
Point 1, I understand that my duty is to help the court to achieve the overriding objective by giving independent assistance by way of objective, unbiased opinion on matters within my expertise, both in preparing reports and giving oral evidence. I understand that this duty overrides any obligation to the party by whom I am engaged, or the person who has paid or is liable to pay me. I confirm that I have complied with and will continue to comply with that duty.
Okay. Now, Ms. Hingley, you were also asked about You were also asked extensively about discussions you had with KAA
Yes.
and about what you called information received
Yes.
and assisting in the helping in a cross-examination.
Yes.
So my question to you, can you clarify? The insinuation was made that there was something untoward or improper about those communications.
Yes.
Would you clarify to this court if those communications in any way affect your opinion and whether there was anything, how they affect your final opinion?
They did not affect my final opinion at all. It was purely to provide counsel with information of the DNA process and how to robustly cross-examine an expert.
Now, information received, you asked a lot about information received.
Yes.
And you seem to be explaining to my lord that it is, you called it as expected.
Yes.
And something that is commonplace.
Yes.
Can you explain why this is commonplace, how it is expected, and where else we can see it in the context of this case?
So background information, the ultimate goal for an expert witness is to aid the court in the significance of forensic findings. This is by addressing an activity level. This can only be done when the scientific findings are put in the context of case circumstances. So the background information and the information contained within the case notes becomes pertinent to the expert witness being able to guide the court with maximum effect. Irrespective of whether you're instructed by the prosecution or the defence, all scientists will use information, as was apparent in the DNA report of the prosecution scientist.
Can you show us background information in the DNA report?
So on page 10 of the DNA report, under the title Brief Facts of Case, are the background information that the prosecution scientist had.
Maybe you can just read the until years, just so we have an understanding.
So contained within this.
My lord, we don't remember cross-examining on this report.
I think the cross-examination
This is
background information.
I think the point
Examination.
I think the point is on background information. You asked for background information.
Yeah, my lord, we asked for background information, but we never traversed these reports.
My lord, it came from her answer, and really, I think the point she made is that it is constant. It is common.
It is common
in science.
for
Yes.
scientists to have information in background
Yes.
reports. I think that is it. That is noted.
Yes, much
So
obliged.
let's move.
So please just quickly take us to the first sentence and we move.
My lord, once they do, we shall have to ask
No, we have-
an opportunity
we
to
have
traverse
already seen
that.
where it is that there is background information. Let's proceed.
Yes, because
There's
my
also
lord.
background information here.
Yes, and my lord, they speak of what I want because my lord, they asked about where she got wounds on both ears. But I'm happy to move. But that question did come up, my lord. If you check
I think
the ears, Miss Wakoli spent 20 minutes on ears.
I think the issue of the ears came from something that the witness said.
Okay, much obliged.
Let's move.
Much obliged. You can just tell us the page, though?
It's contained on page 10 of the electronic document.
Okay. Okay. Now, my learned friend also took time to take you through a number of photographs that you received.
Yes.
He also gave you the blood pattern report to compare the photographs you received with those in that report. And you said they were not exactly the same, but were similar. Very briefly clarify to my lord, because my learned friend seems to have suggested the pictures were different. So can you clarify to my lord if they were different?
I never did so, my lord. And my lord, I asked specific questions, not insinuations.
Much
We
obliged.
pray that the defense sticks to the clear questions that we raised.
Much obliged, madam. I'm still asking my question. My learned friend asked you specifically about questions. He gave you the blood pattern report and asked you if the pictures in that report were the same as those that you had been given. Can you clarify what, if anything, there was about those pictures and that report?
They clearly were not the same photographs, however they are of the same material, and you could demonstrate the blood stain patterns that were recovered in the photos I were received were those of those taken at the scene.
You said they were of the same what?
The same areas, the same staining, the nature of the staining. So it's captured a different picture of the same thing.
So it's captured a different picture of the same thing. Now, repeatedly, my learned friends referred you to various provisions of the Forensic Science Regulator Code, the FSR Code. I want you to explain to my lord. You said at the beginning that this court did not. Okay, let me put it like this. Prosecution put a number of questions to you on the FSR code. Can you tell this honorable court what the FSR code provides about defense reviews like the one you have conducted in this case?
The defence reviews are exempt from the code.
Can you show us in the code?
Yes.
Also what defense reviews are and how they are exempt?
Need to find the relevant. So on page 220 of the code, oh no, sorry, that's not right.
Above
Can't remember which page it's on.
218.
218.
I remember during your examination in chief.
Oh, there, one sec. Okay, sorry. So, it's section 88.2. on page 218
Okay.
specifies that this version of the code does not apply to this activity. Therefore, this activity has no requirements set for compliance, including any for accreditation.
Where is that? Sorry?
That's on page 218
I'm sure it was on the screen.
on 88.2. 88.2.1.
Okay.
Included in case review, going from 88.3, the sub-activities included in case review.
So that says, what does that read? 88.3.1?
So we're now on 88.3.
Yes.
So these are the sub-activities that the regulator considers as case review, all of which are exempt from the code.
Please read it all. 88.3.1, the following.
So these include review of relevant previous forensic findings in the context of most up-to-date case circumstance information, which may be different to that which was previously available. Relevant findings, including physical and digital evidence, should be reviewed. All sample types across disciplines, including the consideration of whether the nature and scope of scientific investigations are appropriate to the case circumstances, whether the examined items were the appropriate ones, the methodology for arriving at the scientific findings and the limitations of applied methods, the continuity and integrity of items, exhibits, the results, quality assurance measures and critical findings checks to ascertain what can be reliably concluded and what might have been missed, and or the reliability and validity of previous findings.
You can stop there. Just clarify to my lord if that's what you did in this case.
Yes, that's what I did.
While asking you about the defense review, you constantly referred to your review as a third review.
Yes.
You were asked if you looked at the material, you said it's not required for a third review. If you did this, it's not required for a third review. Explain to my lord, what is a third review and what is a third review in the context of this case?
So within the DNA profiling laboratory, the technical staff would have derived the DNA profile. That would have undergone the first check by the analyst to determine that that sample has met the quality criteria. That profile would then be checked by a second analyst to confirm that it has met the criteria. So all DNA profiles before they leave the laboratory have had 2 checks. So when I come and review, I am the 3rd check of the DNA profile. The final report produced by the laboratory would have been written by 1 scientist and peer reviewed by a second. And so my overall case review is the 2nd complete review of the case findings.
And in the context of this case, you were asked if you had the evidence of Mr. Mubiru. In the context of this case, yours is the 3rd review. Whose is the 2nd review?
I understand that Mr. Meribu was analyst 1, who was the reviewer of the case before it left the laboratory.
Now, prosecution seems to be criticizing the fact that you did not do the original experiment and that you only did a document review. 2nd and 3rd review, would it be correct that Mr. Mubiru also simply did a document review?
My Lord, we object to that line of...
Let me rephrase the question, my lord. Let me rephrase. I'm going to rephrase. So you did a third review. You explained to this court what the 3 reviews are. So, which of the reviews, because you've been accused of not doing an analytical work in the lab and simply looking at documents, of all the 3 of you who reviewed, who looked at...
That one is also objectionable.
My lord, I think it's relevant. No. My lord, I think because the criticism before you, my lord, is that the witness has just done a document review. So it's not in the lab. As opposed, and my learned friends were very clear, as opposed to the original analyst who came before this court. So I think it's important to clarify based on the documents if that assertion is true.
My Lord, that is what our learned colleague seems to understand. He seems to be reading the motive of our questions, but we never raised any direct question in that regard. So he cannot read our motive because our motive could have been different. He is only supposed to conduct re-exam on direct questions that arose.
You asked her whether she had an opportunity to do her own independent
To which
analysis.
she said no.
And she said
We
she
never
did
asked her to make any comparison, my Lord, with other experts.
My lord, I
Now
think,
he is inviting the
I can
witness.
clarify it from my colleague. Sorry, I think you did ask. My learned friend said, unlike PW8, who did the actual review, you only did a desktop review.
That
A
is
paper
not true.
review. Maybe I know you can check.
My lord, that is
My lord,
not
let's
true.
just
The
check
question
record.
was, unlike PW8, who looked at a spectrum of very many exhibits, your review was only limited to the pistol and the contents of the firearm.
Maybe
That
let me
is where
rephrase
we
it.
stopped.
Let me rephrase it in-
That
let me
is where
rephrase
we
it.
stopped.
Let me rephrase it in
we
that line.
We didn't talk about other exhibits.
Let me rephrase it in that line. It was put to you that unlike PW8, who looked at a spectrum of all the exhibits, you looked specifically at the pistol, and you only did what you did was only based on documents, unlike PW8. Clarify for this court if that, from a reading of the documents, is a correct position, and if not, why not?
That is also objectionable, my Lord. He is inviting the witness to speculate.
No.
As, Mr. Karwanga, it's always good to listen.
My lord, I'll rephrase the question to remove any form of speculation. My lord, because I want to make progress. I don't want us to have an argument.
The point was that Mr. Mubiru looked at many exhibits
Yes.
and came with
In the lab.
and came up with a report.
Yes.
The witness looked at
Documents. Yes.
Yes.
So my question is that correct? Can you clarify if that is what happened?
Correct.
If that is what happened.
Correct on what? My Lord,
Can you
happening-
clarify?
Happening where?
Can you clarify?
Happening where?
Can you clarify?
Okay,
Let me rephrase the question.
No,
Mr.
my
Mohammed.
Lord,
Asking
no, my
about
Lord,
her.
we,
Just a moment.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm asking about her.
You ask her.
I'm asking about her. Yes. Because you see, my lord, we are dealing with documents. So my question is this.
So the question was,
And
I think
Based
I
on the
recall-
documents,
just a
we
moment,
much
Mr.
obliged.
Karwanga.
Much obliged.
Please, reduce on the
Mr. Morgan,
question.
my
Mr.
lord.
Morgan,
Yes, my
I
lord.
think what the question should center around,
Yes.
it was said that Mr. Mubiru
Yes.
looked at exhibits
Yes.
in a lab.
Yes.
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 The witness did not look at the samples.
Yes.
She relied on the
documents.
report
Yes.
of PW8 to arrive at her report.
Yes.
Was
I want
it
her
that
to
the-
clarify.
Now,
I want her to
our
clarify.
objection is,
My lord, you doesn't want that point
No,
clarified?
let
please,
us.
can I be understood by court? Mr. Karwanga,
So
what is
let
he
us
finishing when we are objecting
Let us
to
understand
it?
what your objection is.
Yes. Now, he is asking a question to invite the witness to tell us whether actually Mubiru dealt with the actual samples.
No. I
No,
don't
my lord,
think
that is it.
Is that what you want to
No,
ask?
no, my lord.
Okay, my lord,
Can you please, my lord, can I be protected from objections that are not on my questions?
Mr. Karanga,
My lord, exactly how you had explained it
Exactly.
is how I want the witness to answer it. My lord had talked about Mr. Mubiru looking at exhibits in the lab, and you just merely doing a document review. Based on the documents that you have, on the documents, not on any speculation, based on the documents that are provided to you, what comment do you have about that?
I can only comment on the DNA report, and that shows that analyst 1 was the reviewer of the case, so in effect has done exactly the same as I have.
Has done exactly
My
the
lord,
same as you have.
that
Thank
is-
you. I want to
that is
move.
That is exactly our objection. Mr. Karuhanga cannot be smarter than what the evidence on record
But she has answered my
says.
question.
My lord,
is that what you are asking?
Yes, my
I
lord, that's
thought
what
you
is
were- I
no,
thought- I thought that what you wanted to draw a parallel between was between what Mubiru did
Yes.
and the questions
Exactly.
that came up in cross-examination, indicating that she came up with her report without having had the benefit of
yes.
analyzing the samples.
And,
Isn't that it?
yes, and my lord, you
Yes.
can see.
That's the
that
question, my
from
lord.
Mr. Karuhanga, can I please?
But maybe before you object,
my
let
lord,
me
may I have
clarify.
audience before you? My lord, I want court to understand me. Mr. Karuhanga is inviting Ms. Lin to imagine what Mr. Mubiru did. My lord, what Mr. Mubiru did, he explained it in this court on record as to what these terminologies in their lab mean. We also had a second witness from GAL that explained what their terminologies mean according to their lab. Now, Mr. Karuhanga is inviting Miss Lin, who was thousands of miles away from Mr. Mubiru, to tell us that what she did is exactly what Mubiru did, simply because of the use of terminology, reviewer.
No, my lord, I think
My
that
lord,
is my lord, I ask for
wrong.
protection. I think my land friend is submitting on the answer. My lord,
The question that was asked about the difference between what
there were a number of questions.
in relation to what you want to ask now.
No, my lord, I was asking her about defense review. She said the defense review is the third review. She explained that the second review is signed by the reviewer in the lab. And she has clarified that in this case, the reviewer in the lab is Mr. Mubiru, and that ordinarily that would be a documents review.
Now,
my learned friend is objecting actually to that evidence going on record. That is really what's happening.
No, my lord.
And I want to move on.
No, my lord, he would not move. We have a prayer. We want, to the extent.
Let me clarify the question again.
No, mister, please.
No.
You are he is the one going there.
My lord, you shouldn't get angry at me re-examining my witness.
I
want to.
We can't. We are not
Yes, my lord.
on our duty, my lord.
My lord, could I be
You have
protected?
raised your
Yes.
You've raised your
I want to
Yes.
make a prayer.
Explain.
I want to make a prayer, my lord, in
No.
relation on what Mr. Karuhanga has
No, my lord, we're not going to
insistently
make progress
done.
if we do this.
May I make the prayer, my lord?
My lord, just before he prays, because he made his objection, and I want to clarify this issue by even asking another question and reframing.
Now
My
we
lord,
can't
our-
go to another question.
Much obliged.
When this matter
Much
is
obliged.
closed.
Much
I
obliged. much
am
obliged.
making
Thank
a
you for your-
prayer, my lord. Mr. Karuhanga cannot vulgarize the record with due respect. My lord, we owe allegiance to this court to ensure that what goes on record, my lord, is acceptable and reflects the true position of the evidence given in this court. To the extent that he has invited Ms. Lin to speculate as to what Mubiru did in the lab, vis-a-vis what Mubiru testified on record, my lord, that particular aspect of speculation, my lord, we pray that it be expanded
And Mr. Mubiru
from
came
the
to
record.
court and explained.
And explained it, my lord.
Yes.
Now he is inviting him, because of the use of terminology, for her to infer what
my lord-
Mubiru
What
did
I
or did not
understood
do.
from what Mr. Karuhanga was trying to solicit
Can Mr. Moganya sit?
was whether it is true that while Mr. Mubiru had an opportunity to deal with the samples, she only dealt with the
To the contrary, not, my lord.
That's what I
To the
asked, my
contrary,
lord.
not.
So, my lord, Can I clarify? Let him sit, my lord, and I'll clarify.
No, my lord, it's not a question of clarifying.
Let us hear what.
My lord, we
Decorum,
want it
please,
expunged
decorum.
off the record. Mr. Karwanga has
Mr.
insisted
Karwanga, you are
on
going to-
smuggling
you are going
hearsay
to
on record. And we
rephrase,
can't
is it?
allow
Yes.
it, my
Let's
lord.
wait for him to rephrase that.
Okay, my lord, before he rephrases,
No, my lord.
does he accept that what is on record before?
My lord,
that
I
what
haven't
is on
even been
record
allowed
now
to
is
speak.
hearsay?
I'm literally being cross-examined.
Let us hear how he's rephrasing.
Okay,
Yes,
my
my
lord,
lord, I can't be
we
cross-examined.
we agree he can rephrase 1,000 times. My lord, our concern is what he has deliberately and insistently
going to-
made the
you're going-
witness
you're
to
going
put
to
on record,
rephrase.
my lord.
My lord.
You rephrase.
So in the meantime,
but
my
that
lord,
part of
can what has been put on record be
that-
expanded?
No, my lord, I haven't even responded to his prayers.
that part of Mr. Mubiru
Mr. Mu-
and what he did in
Yes,
his
my lord.
lab.
Is a hearsay.
They're removing it from that.
No, my lord, I haven't even responded. My lord, a
Most
fair
obliged,
hearing.
my lord.
My lord,
Most obliged.
my lord, in fairness, okay, let me rephrase the question. Miss Hingley, you told my lord that yours is a third review
Yes.
and that there's a second review. Ordinarily, in the labs, explain to my lord what is a second review and who signs the second
We
review.
never crossed on that.
My lord, we need to
This
clarify.
is
No, my lord,
examination.
my lord, can I be protected? Mr. Mwaganya should not be listening to himself.
Yeah, my lord, we can go on the record and we can be advised where that question arose in cross-exam.
Yes, my lord, he did actually. The witness,
About the second review and the third review.
yes, the witness constantly said she was a third reviewer. I am sick. She was never allowed to break into what that meant. I am asking the witness what it meant. Yes, my lord, just type in third reviewer and you will see it all over. And I think it's important to clarify. My lord, and my lord,
Please, both of you, be seated.
yes, much obliged. But
Mr. Karwanga,
my lord, I need
let
to be
me
protected.
look at the record.
The first, second, and third review, so we know what you mean by a third review.
So the first confirmation of the DNA profiling results would be done by the analyst in the laboratory.
So the first confirmation, that's the first review.
Yes.
Yes, that's the first review of the results to determine that they have met their quality standards. That would then be checked by a second scientist forming this. The second scientist in the DNA unit confirms and agrees the opinion of the first scientist that the DNA result conforms to their quality standards. That DNA profiling result is then released to the court-going scientist, and these are the results I have interpreted. So my interpretation of the DNA profiling results constitutes the third review of the DNA profiling results.
So that then the results will be released to the court-going scientists.
Yes.
And these are the results.
That I have then reviewed. So my review constitutes a third check of the DNA profiling results.
And the second is also...
In relation to case review, this comes in with the production of a witness statement or a report. It's written by one scientist, and the second scientist reviews all the case papers to determine agreement with that report.
So please note down this in relation to case review it comes with.
So this relates specifically to the production of the witness statement or report. The first scientist reviews all the findings and produces the report. The second scientist, now reviewer, reviews all the scientific findings referred to And then when I do my review, it's then a second full case review.
And the third what?
So when you do yours, it is now a second.
It's
review.
a second full case review and a third check of the DNA profiling results.
So when you say third reviewer, you meant the third check with the DNA.
Yeah, so
results.
I'm the second full case review.
You're the second full case review. So what are you as third?
Sorry?
You're the second full case review. What are you as third? You're the third what then?
The third check of the DNA profiling results.
And is this based on anything? This what you've just told us, is that FSR, is that ISO, what is it based on?
That is, because case review doesn't come under any criteria, this is a standard methodology. So the review I carry out is exactly the same as if I was instructed by the prosecution.
Okay?
It's exactly the same methodology.
Okay. Now I want to move. Ms. Hingley, you also were told that Mr. Mubiru is more qualified than you because he is an assessor, an ISO assessor for forensic science.
Yes.
I want you just to comment on what an ISO assessor for forensic science is. Just clarify to my lord.
So ISO covers all disciplines in forensic science. For example, it will cover DNA interpretation, DNA profiling, toxicology, footwear, tool marks, drugs.
So you said it covers all disciplines, including DNA profiling.
DNA interpretation, toxicology, tool marks, footwear, drugs, and the disciplines are very, very different. So it's very important to know what particular field he's an assessor in.
You were told he's an assessor in forensic science. That's what you were told.
Yes, there's no such thing. You cannot be a general assessor of forensic science. The disciplines are too different.
Ms. Hingley, you were also asked about your own experience, and the insinuation was that for technical work in the lab, you had only 7 years experience, and therefore you are not experienced when it comes to the lab. Can you clarify to my lord about your experience in respect to the scientific processes involved in DNA profiling?
So, as I said, hands-on within the lab, processing the samples. It was from when I started at the Forensic Science Service in 1997 until I left in 2003. I was the lead DNA scientist at the new company, LGC Forensics, and I worked closely with the technical team.
LGC in full is what?
Laboratory of the Government Chemist. So although I didn't physically work in the laboratory, I was part of the team that troubleshooted when the DNA profiling results weren't as expected, and at which part of the system we needed to investigate as to where the problem was. Equally, when I worked in Oman, setting up their system, I trained them in the very final stage, which was the analysis of the DNA profiles and the checking of. So I've been involved in the process since I started in 1997.
Okay, but I want you to explain to my lord about the technical part in the lab and because you talk about working in the lab and then you talk about working as an analyst. I want you just to clarify for us so that we have a clear understanding of what it is you mean and what you are doing.
So when I was hands-on, it was working directly in the laboratory, following standard operating procedures. So the methodology needed to be the same day in and day out. So I was doing that to 2003. Then subsequent to that, I was interpreting the DNA findings in the context of the case circumstances. So I have always been involved in the review of DNA profiling results, and I do not need to be hands-on within the laboratory to be able to do that.
Maybe my last question there, just so I can get it. When you're doing hands-on work, are you therefore analyzing the samples?
Yes, so I am following set procedures in order to put the samples through the process, analytical process.
And then what do you do after that?
So after that, that's when I became a court-going scientist, where I interpret the DNA profiling results in the context of the case.
So if I'm in a lab, let's say in a hospital, and someone comes in for a DNA paternity test, I just want to understand what you're doing. Are you the one who swabs? Are you the one who runs the machines? What exactly are you doing?
So I worked purely in the DNA profiling laboratory. So I was processing the crime stains and deriving the DNA profiling results.
Okay. Now, my learned friends also asked you about the swab on the trigger house.
Yes.
Which you said was a secondary swab.
Yes.
My learned friend Mrs. Wakoli, asked you if DNA remains, if you've done a study to confirm that DNA remains on the trigger and trigger house, on the trigger after the first swab. Just clarify to my lord, what is the effect of that swab?
If the swabbing is taken effectively, the remaining DNA should be so low that it won't yield a useful DNA profile. And this comes from experience of having to resample areas which have already been swabbed.
So when you say, your last sentence was it wouldn't be able to do what to a DNA profile?
It wouldn't be a usable DNA profile.
What does that mean in the context of getting a result?
It may be possible to get a partial DNA profile, but the expectation is such incredibly low levels of DNA would remain that it would not be suitable for meaningful evaluation.
Okay. And so the secondary swab happened after the hand had touched the glove, right?
Oh yes.
After the glove had touched the trigger house.
Yes.
Now, my learned friend also asked you about fingerprints and grips.
Yes.
And she said that you cannot, that the argument was that fingerprints are not appropriate because you can't lift fingerprints off the grip. In the context of this case, what are the DNA results on the grip?
There's no evidence the grip was ever sampled.
For?
Sampled for DNA.
Now,
She also asked.
just a moment, there's no evidence that the grip was ever sampled for DNA.
Yes.
And you asked her whether she stated that fingerprints cannot be lifted off the grip.
Yes. And she confirmed. So we have no information on the grip. Now, my question to you is this. You also asked about fingerprints and DNA.
Yes.
Can you confirm if, and you asked about, this is called triage of evidence. And I think we're trying to understand if you can lift both fingerprints and DNA from a weapon without one compromising the other. Could you explain if you can?
We've found through research that if the fingerprint expert enhances possible fingerprints with the technique of superglue, they are if the fingerprints are of use, they are able to recover those fingerprints, and then we are actually able to recover DNA from that area as well.
Maybe, my lord, we can have a translation. page number if we could know it. Sample 17 is the one just before 19.
Yes.
You have to go back 2 pages to see where it starts. And Lord, it starts with, this is a generated report from Euroformix version 3.2.0, created by El Mutesi, and then it says data, a selected STR, selected population, evidence is 6H2Y23S017. So 017 is what we are looking at. So we just want to know the page number. 66. Now, on this one, if you can just go to the calculation for the prosecution hypothesis.
Yes.
My learned friend for the prosecution suggested to you, again, C1, C2, and C3. Please show us on the thing there, on the screen, using your cursor. My learned friend suggested to you, in summary, that Mole Katanga contributed 67% to the magazine, to the DNA in the magazine. And you, Ms. Hingley, said you do not agree with that calculation.
Yes, that calculation was run with 3 contributors, but is not reflective of the DNA profiling result.
Okay. What do we have on the DNA profiling result?
The DNA profiling result, if it was assumed that the DNA originated from Henry, Molly, and Patricia, there was clear evidence of DNA from a 4th individual.
And can you show us that? Can you show us this 4th individual?
So this is on page 20 of my witness statement.
Why don't we use the EPGs?
These are the 2 clear areas of 4 people.
So just show us what you mean.
So when we review the DNA profiling result, we evaluate the number of pieces of information. And although only 4 pieces of information have been designated, therefore at least 2 people, when you revisit the results with the assumption of Henry, Molly, and Patricia contributing, the areas circled do not belong to any of them, and therefore there must be a 4th contributor to this result.
And when you look at Euroformix again, what do we get from Euroformix in that regard?
So in this sample,
Yes.
the analyst has put in that the number of contributors is 3.
Okay. And what has the system, what has the software told the analyst?
When the system has been run, the system has actually told the analyst that it has failed to resolve 7 times. So that should have been an indication that something was wrong.
So my lord, that's the page we want.
67.
The page which has the 7 failures. It's under model validation. My lord, if I can. page 67.
Please take the cursor to the place where
Take the
it says
cursor where it says
failed.
fails.
Sorry?
Take the cursor to the place where it says
Oh,
fails.
sorry, here. So under model validation, under HP, it's failed 7 times. So that's indicating that the proposition put forward by the analyst that 3 contributors is not correct.
What does HP mean?
So these are the propositions we consider.
So what does the proposition HP mean, if just in full?
So HP is the prosecution hypothesis.
Okay, you can stop there. Now, while still looking at number 17, what's the effect of the system failure?
That means that the system itself cannot resolve into a result because the findings do not support the information it's been provided, that 3 contributors. So that immediately should alert the analyst that something is wrong.
Now, Ms. Hingley, my learned friend took you to the profile itself of 17.
Yes,
And she said that you have only highlighted two areas
yes,
where there is a problem, and that did you look at all the 23 areas? I want you to go to the Euroformics profile itself for sample 17, which is an exhibit D5. Exhibit D5,
yes.
sample 17, which is the magazine. And my learned friend says, I don't know if is that sample 17?
No, that was 15. I'm nearly there. This is the EPG from 17.
What page is that on the?
That's page 34.
You go up a bit, I think we can see the page. Page 30. The written up page is page what?
It looks
30.
30
My lord, if we can have DE5.
or 36.
DE5. Just bear with us, Ms. Hingley. But we have it. I think it's page 36. No, page 38. 38. Now, can we proceed?
It's page 36.
38. Is it this one? Let's see that. That's DE what? DE5. DE5 is what they've been using to cross-examine her. Yeah, throughout. It's the main document for the cross-examination. PA6 and DE5. My lord, could we just use that and
Which one?
what's on the screen? We have our copies. Ours was page 38. Is that page 38?
Do you have your copy of D5? Is it that one? You said it's 30.
I have page 38.
Is it 38?
Okay, anyway, my lord, we will seek the one from court. But do you have D5 on court record?
Yes. Yeah,
D5.
yes.
So where is it?
It's in the archives.
The main thing we've been using for this cross-examination. Yes. Yes. It's actually the only main document. Maybe, my lord, with the permission, I will proceed and we shall come back and correct the pages. But from the Euroformics that was given to you from Defense Exhibit 5, what's the next page? Let's see the next page first. You just go up once, see the page number. Yeah, that's 39.
Yes.
So, my lord, 38. So the Euroformics given to you at page 38, if you go, my learned friend's question to you was, you've identified DNA belonging to someone else in just 2 out of 23 areas. First of all, show us those 2 areas on the Euroformics itself.
So these are the EPGs. So the 2 clear areas were FGA at 25 there. Could not have been any of the nominated individuals. And the second area is D12 here, the 17 and the 18. So at D12, 17 and 18 could not have come from any of the nominated individuals.
Now, my learned friend told you, fine, but that's just in 2 areas. You looked at 23 areas. Can you clarify, first of all, looking at the 23 areas, if she's right that you can only see the nominated individuals?
There's a lot of information that is...
Start from the top.
So from the top, we're unfortunately suffering from the same as with the extraction negative, where the panel has been sized to this very large artifact. So I cannot interrogate any of these areas at all.
Tell us for the record, what is the panel sizing? It is 0 to what?
This panel size is 0 with the midpoint of 16,000. So approximately 30, that'd be 24 and then 32,000.
32,000. And the next panel is from 0 to?
The next panel, the midpoint is 1,000. So 0 to 2,000.
Okay, so for the first panel, what information can you get about the areas?
The only information I can gain is the designations associated. I cannot see the peak morphology, or if there is any other information which has not been labelled by the police laboratory.
Or if there is what?
Any other information which has not been labelled by the police laboratory.
Okay, now using the rest of the information, do you agree with my learned friend that, okay, that's about 6 areas of DNA, fine, there are 6 areas that you can't see anything, there are 2 areas which you are contesting. How many areas are those where you can't see anything?
So the first panel covers 5 areas of DNA, which I cannot interrogate.
Okay.
Then we move down, and even in the areas where I have highlighted, there is other information present, but the fact that it's not been designated would indicate that it falls below the 300 threshold, and therefore I cannot determine the size of this information, and there's extra information pretty much throughout the profile.
So there's extra information pretty much throughout the profile. Just demonstrate to my lord where we can see extra information.
So if we look at the FGA, where the 25 is clearly the fourth person, if we start at what's been labelled as 22, there's clearly DNA coming through before.
Yes. And what's the height of that DNA?
I can't, it's, this here would be 400, but I can't, I assume that that's less than 300. I have no means of confirming.
Okay. And from the part of distinctive pattern. From the part of distinctive pattern.
Multi-contributor DNA of several people in a household also show multiple peaks at multiple loci.
Yes.
Only that the peak heights vary according to each person's contribution of the relative deposit.
Yes. That's what we are clarifying. Whether this sample is that. And now you are telling us, Ms. Hingley.
I do object, because I did not go to those facts. Those are points that I just presented to the witness, and she did confirm. And I never said, and I never even went to that document. I did not.
My lord, the witness is clarifying. The witness was asked if the allelic ladder has a specific pattern, or if it is multiple contribute. Yes, if it has peak heights at a certain location, to which she said no. She was then asked if there's a distinction between multiple person and allelic ladder contamination, and she clearly said there's a distinction, and she said the thing has a distinct pattern, and the point my learned friend is putting to her was that there was no ladder contamination, unless my learned friend is conceding that there's ladder contamination. Otherwise, I need to clarify whether or not there is ladder contamination. That's what I'm clarifying. And she wasn't allowed to explain.
Just a moment. Allelic ladder contamination produces a distinctive and recognizable signature.
Yes.
As identified in my figure.
Yes.
4. The peaks would appear virtually at every known allele position across all loci simultaneously, with relative uniform peaks in the actual ladder.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I'm clarifying, my lord. I'm clarifying that.
Whether the uniformity continues when the sample is contaminated with another sample is dependent on how that contamination happened.
Yes.
In a contamination event, the peak height may not mimic the ladder, depending on how the contamination happened. So what are you establishing?
My lord, I'm establishing because the point my learned friend was making is that there is no ladder contamination in this case. I am establishing that dead certain there is ladder contamination. I'm seeking clarification.
I disagree that what I saw was not contamination, but was the result of multi-DNA contribution.
Thank you, my lord. That's the disagreement. I am asking why do you disagree? And I'm asking you to look at all the information that was given to you to clarify. Much obliged, my lord. Which is both this and the Euroformics.
So the EPG is showing characteristic ladder contamination. In my opinion, it's very concerning that this has gone through at least 2 checks as a 2-person mixture. It's clearly ladder. And even when it's been designated as a two-person mixture, you can clearly see it D2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of information have been called. So the mixture interpretation's wrong. It's clearly ladder. So here, so if it's a two-person mixture, you have a maximum of 4 pieces of information. Notwithstanding that the threshold is very questionable, accepting that only those peaks above 300 have been designated, the laboratory themselves
The Euroformix or the
Euroformix. No. Yes, the Euroformix is in P6.
this sample's near the end because it wasn't evidential, so look near the end.
I know how to find it. I want us to move. My Lord, I hope we're together. You had said under it failed how many times?
Under HP 46 times.
You put the cursor there.
So here, this is a clear indication that the propositions were inappropriate for the DNA information put into the system.
Okay. Now, Ms. Hingley, my learned friend then suggested to you, citing a number of EPGs, a number of electropherograms that are contained in Defense Exhibit 5. My learned friend suggested to you that a number of those, and I don't want to go through them one by one, but she mentioned a number, that were in the same batch as the cartridge casing.
Yes.
Do not have any sign of first there was contamination and subsequently allelic ladder contamination. Now, the import was clear that that contamination is limited to that cartridge since we do not see it in other samples.
You can't testify.
Okay, my learned friend put to you a number of samples. I'm not testifying, there's a question. But anyway, I can rephrase it. But my Lord, I wasn't testifying. The question is, according to my learned friend, even if this were to be ladder contamination, she put to you a number of samples and asked you if those samples that were in the same batch reflected the same ladder. And you said in each case that they don't. Yet in your evidence in chief, you said that the ladder affects the entire batch. Clarify to my lord the effect of the ladder on the entire batch of samples.
So the very first thing that should happen within a laboratory where clear contamination has occurred is that they must investigate where that contamination has happened and how. If when they resample, they put it back through the system, so there's a separation process. If through that process it comes back clear, then the contamination has happened at the separation process, and it would be strongly advisable that the entire batch go back through that process. If upon their investigation they find that the ladder has come into the samples at the copying, the amplification stage, this is very serious contamination, and in effect the laboratory must stop processing any samples until they can deem their laboratory clean.
What do you mean stop?
Literally no samples should be processed along there in that laboratory at all until they can demonstrate that their process is clean.
You mean it should be closed?
They should not process any samples whatsoever.
Okay. Is this specific to allelic ladder contamination?
Yes, the laboratory should be set up in what we term positive airflow, meaning nothing that has been copied is able to go back into the process. The allelic ladder only comes into the process at the very end, the separation stage. There should be no reason whatsoever that you are picking up ladder in your amplification stage. If you are, it means your DNA is going in reverse and is able to then contaminate an earlier stage. If that is shown and the ladder contains every possible piece of information we know, then you have absolutely no idea whether your result from your sample is from the sample and not contamination. Hence, the lab would cease. They must demonstrate that their airflow is robust and that their laboratory is clean.
Now, Ms. Hingley, my learned friend asked you about two other samples apart from 22-1, which was I think 24, and another one where you said there was ladder.
Yes.
Were they all in the same batch?
No, this is a different batch.
So every batch in this case had allelic ladder contamination?
Certainly 2 batches, yes.
Okay.
So this is the second. This is one of the walking sticks. Again, absolutely characteristic of ladder.
What page is that on the E5?
That is page 65, sample 29. And then again, sample 30, starting on page 66. Oh, sorry, that's 29. And again, both these samples should never be confused with multi-person mixtures. They are clearly ladder. Clear contamination.
Show us.
So here's sample 30. You would never get a distribution like this in a multi-person mixture. The most common alleles and that are put through and regularly seen are generally centralised. This is absolutely characteristic ladder.
Okay. Now, looking at just there, the panel on 30.
Yes.
How many? What is its height? What's the height?
So this is sized with 200 at the midpoint, between 0 and 400.
Okay. Okay, and so you see ladder there?
Yes, clear ladder.
Show us.
So here, this area is very, very clearly ladder.
Now, I'm about to wind up. My learned friend then suggested to you, my lord, I hope we can move. My learned friend suggested to you that in order to see contamination, you have to go to what she called the quantification data. Put it up. And she took you to it.
Yes.
So please kindly put it up. I think it's still within that
Sorry.
document.
Yes, it is. You're right.
And it was, she took you specifically, if I recall, to a particular quant at page
Is it 56?
56, yes. I think actually, if we start from 55, she took you to 55, 56, and 57.
Yes.
And she said, in her questions to you, she referred you to a number of samples and said that, so if I can, let me quote her properly. What I had recorded is she said that using samples at page 55 and 56 of D5, that the male will give you an X and Y chromosome because only a male can give you a Y, and then you responded and said yes because the female at Y would be 0. She then referred you to a number of samples, starting with Molle's reference sample, which she asked you to read the quantification data.
Yes.
And her argument seemed to have, and she argued, she put it to you actually, that as long as you don't see contamination in the quant, then there is no contamination at all. First of all, you disagreed with that.
It's not possible with crime stains to determine from the quant whether there's contamination or not, because you do not know what you're expecting. The only samples the quant data will aid are the negative, because we know that's supposed to be blank, and equally we can use the reference DNA samples of known individuals because we know whether they're male or female.
Now, my learned friend sent you to the sample S004
Yes.
of Molle Katanga.
Yes.
I want you to clarify, does that show there's no contamination?
So this sample, as expected, has a very... So here, oh, it won't let me because it's not a searchable. So I'm looking at well D1 on sample 004 on the small autosomal. You can see that the figure of 4284, and that's as expected, a very high level of female DNA. However, if you look below this, the Y, which can only be male, is indicating that there is male DNA in this sample.
So there was a man in Molle Katanga.
Yes, the analytical work is demonstrating that male DNA has been detected in a sample from Molly.
And that shows what?
That's an indication that there could be contamination in that sample.
What about Patricia?
Again, for Patricia, a very high level of female, of total DNA as you would expect. And again, there's a figure measuring, indicating that male DNA is present.
I want you to read for my lord the figure of male DNA for Molle, the figure for male DNA for Patricia.
So for Molly here, on sample 004, the male has been registered as 0.005093. And for Patricia, it's 0.006823.
There's also a man in Patricia.
Yes, both. And the critical thing here is that the amount of male recorded is far, far lower than the total, and therefore the EPG, you could never visualize the contribution of the male, because the female will completely swamp it in relation to the EPG. So the quantification is showing there's possible contamination, but the EPG, you could never visualize it.
Sample 6 was Denise, a woman as well. Does that woman have some man?
So
I withdraw the question, my lord. I withdraw the question. It didn't arise indeed. I will move. But
My lord, the question did not only arise,
it didn't arise.
but it is an indication of a poor understanding of your.
Don't testify. You submit. You don't testify.
Of your.
Don't testify. Don't testify.
Yeah, but
Don't testify. My lord, I want to move on to the next area.
He has withdrawn it.
Yes,
Yeah,
much
but-
obliged. Much obliged.
he has already vulgarized the record. I don't know, maybe for native.
My lord, let me continue.
Native. Otherwise, my lord, there is no reason.
My lord is chasing headlines. I think you, my lord,
There
please
is no
prevail.
reason for our colleague
My
to
lord,
know
please
that what
prevail.
he is speaking is wrong and insists on putting
My lord,
it.
I'm just asking questions. And the question he has objected to, I have withdrawn. I'm not giving evidence here. Now, Miss Hingley, this is my final area. And in this final area, my learned friend took you at length to what she called the negative control. And I want you to go, this is my second final area. Right. Part of the final area. I want you to go to the negative control in the EPG, which was at page 53, I believe, of Defense Exhibit 5.
yes,
I'm going to interrogate every single point my learned friend made about this. And I'm going to do it quickly but briefly. First of all, my learned friend took you through the entire, all the panels,
yes,
and asked you if you saw any allele call above 300.
yes,
And she then told you, and you said you didn't, but you said 300 is too high and has no scientific basis.
yes.
She asked you simply, just, do you see any above 300? You said you disagree with 300 as a threshold. Can you explain to my lord why you disagree with a threshold of 300?
So as I previously was explaining, the laboratories have two thresholds. The first threshold is that of the baseline. So this is noise created during the analytical process. And if we look here in the red section, the baseline is literally this very noisy, jagged line that runs across. That is baseline. The reason why we have the baseline threshold is that in order to designate any DNA, the information must be clear, distinct from baseline, and have good morphology. You can clearly see here that the baseline is around a maximum of 25. This is an analytical system that is working very, very well. And therefore, visually, there is absolutely no chance that the information in this panel could be misinterpreted as baseline.
So you're saying the bottom is the baseline and then the peaks are what?
They are pieces of DNA. And there is no scientific grounds for misinterpreting this information as being part of the baseline. It again shows very limited knowledge of the DNA profiling process.
Now, my learned friend put it to you. She confirmed it actually from you, that having watched Mr. Muberu's evidence, you confirm that he said the baseline was 300.
I understand the
And
threshold was 300.
Yes, she put it
Yes.
to you that the threshold was 300, and you understood this. you said, based on having listened to his evidence. Apart from that evidence, clarify if there's any documentation we have on that threshold, on the detection threshold.
So in this respect, we need to go back to Euroformics. And it doesn't matter which sample, they've all been set at the same. So this is the sample we've just been looking at with the ladder contamination. If you look at the printout here, model options.
Maybe let's look at a sample, the first sample in Euroformics, so we know the page number. My lord, on D5.
So it's sample 19.
No, sample, I think 7.
On page?
No, I need the page from the code, that's right. So where the Euroformics starts from, exactly. Annex 4, under Annex 4. After Annex 4, the next page. Yes, yours will be there.
So here, is this right? No?
No, yours is missing a page. Go to the next.
If you start from sample 14, does that work?
Sample 14. Well, maybe I can help to find it. No,
D5
that's
or
D5,
D6?
that's P6. Yes, you're at sample 14.
Yes.
Okay, so you are telling us?
So irrespective of the sample, the Euroformics settings have been the same throughout.
Okay.
So if we look to model options, you can see a label detection threshold.
And what is the detection threshold according to Euroformics?
So this is from which point Euroformics will consider a piece of information, DNA, and utilise it in the statistical evaluation.
So what is the threshold? What's the number?
So the threshold that the analyst has inputted, this is not a default setting for Euroformics, is 70.
70 is that, and what's the default setting for Euroformics?
The default setting is 50.
50.
So this has been changed by someone within the police laboratory.
So this is the police laboratory's threshold.
I cannot comment on that, but someone within the police laboratory has set the analytical threshold at 70.
So now, Ms. Hingley, apart from Mr. Mubiru's oral testimony that it is 300, the question I put to you was, do the documents bear this out?
No, and I requested documentation of their validation to demonstrate their thresholds.
And the document shows what?
I have no documentation at all, it wasn't provided.
What does Euroformics show?
So I now have documentation which shows that the analytical threshold input into Euroformics is 70, which directly contradicts the threshold I'm led to believe of 300.
So now, Ms. Hingley, if the whatever the detection threshold is, 300 or 70 or 50, the question was put to you, and I want to ask you to clarify. Did the negative control perform as expected?
If I go back to the EPG, you can see if we actually consider what would be a reasonable baseline of even 70 at D21, clearly these two pieces of information are above that threshold, and no, it's demonstrating this is a contaminated negative.
Shows?
This area here is the clearest, so even at 70, which is still high for a baseline threshold.
Do we now understand her to mean that her appreciation of the Euroformics is that the baseline was 70, notwithstanding the fact that she consistently says she did not have documents? Because
No.
we need to be sure.
My lord, let me
that
clarify for my colleague, because my colleague is just, my colleague is, you can't seek the clarification from her, you finished. You can only object to my question. My lord, am I not right? You can't ask her questions.
Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
you want clarification?
No,
On whether the baseline is 300
Or 70. Yes.
No, from what she is saying, my lord, now, do we understand her to mean that her appreciation of the Euroformics is that the baseline is 70?
So let me ask you that question. Let me ask you that question, my lord. Because, my lord, the proper process is I should be the one asking questions. So the question is it your proper understanding, that the detection threshold or the baseline is 70 based on the Euroformics?
The 70, which is incorporated into Euroformics, is not the default figure, and so someone in the police laboratory would have had to have put in the 70. Now, whether this is their threshold or not, I can't confirm.
What's the default figure?
How does it fit in with the 300?
That's the question.
No, she has actually answered it properly.
No,
Then Mr. Karanga is
doesn't have to
forcing
provide commentary, my lord.
is
Let's
forcing
deal with the witness.
wrong answers in her mouth.
Let us
Ms. Hingley,
prove the witness.
Ms. Hingley, the question we are asking you, explain to us. You're talking about the normal in Euroformics is what you've just said. What is detection threshold in Euroformics? How does the detection threshold in Euroformics affect this detection threshold here? What was the detection threshold of the Uganda police based on the documents that you have? Give us and please try and break it down in very simple English so that we can all understand.
So from the Euroformics, you can see that the threshold that the police themselves put in is 70. This is obviously in complete contradiction to the 300 I understood to be the case. If the detection threshold is actually 70, then it clearly shows that the negative control was contaminated and did not pass.
Okay. And if the detection threshold is 300, what does it show?
On the assumption that only pieces of information above 300 are given a designation, then that negative control is clear. So the lowering of the threshold to 70 is highly significant in the interpretation of the negative control.
Now that's the point I want you to come to. When you look at the baselines, because she asked you base by base by base, do you have any above 70?
Yes, this area here, these
No,
two.
I don't mean the results. I mean the panel. If you look at the panel from 0, would I be correct to suggest? Yes, 0. My land friend asked you to go through that to see those panels. What information do we get from that?
So in the green, the panel, clearly these two pieces of information would be designated. I can't confirm these, they would be close. This top panel, I have no idea because I can't see anything because of the way it's been sized.
Okay, so my final question on
Just a moment. I would like to appreciate the panels. What do they indicate? And why are we seeing different thresholds for the panels?
So when the DNA is separated, this is the visualization stage and it's in the computer software. The computer software default in producing the electropherograms is that it sizes from the highest peak. So as is common throughout this, the EPGs, we have this very strong piece of information on the far right, which is outside of any of the regions we're interested in. This is not a piece of DNA. This is not associated with the negative, and therefore the analyst should know that they need to lower the panel here to actually visualize what was in this sample. This is misleading, and because of the information, as you can see from the other panels, is low, as we'd expect, by putting this panel at over 2,000 is misleading that it's empty, because I would assume, given the results in the other panels, there is quite a lot of information in here, but you just can't visualize it because of the default settings of the system alone. It's nothing scientific, and the analyst should know that that needs to be amended.
Thank you. I want you just to go finally on that point of the negative control, just for the purpose of clarity. You said it's 300, and I don't know if I'd ask this question, any documents that support the 300?
No, I've not been provided with any.
And are there documents that support another threshold?
Yes, the Euroformix is indicating a 70.
Now, my learned friend cited a paper by Professor Peter Gill. She didn't give us the paper, nor did she read its citation, unless I'm correct. She just dropped the name Professor Peter Gill. Huh? And she said that according to that unnamed paper, contamination in negative control is limited to the single test tube that has the negative control, and that therefore it's something that can be ignored. She put that to you. Do you agree with that?
No. A negative control demonstrates that there is contamination within your process. Unless you rework that negative control and investigate where that contamination occurred, you have no idea what part of your process is contaminated. So in this instance, as the bare minimum, the negative control should have been sent back for the reamplification, so the copying stage. If it comes back clear then the contamination has happened at that stage. If after reamplification you are still getting information in your negative, it can only have occurred at the very beginning of the system, the extraction. This, in my opinion, is gross contamination. You have at least 2 people in this sample. The laboratory must try and source that DNA. Is it a scene goer? Is it a member of the laboratory? And depending on that, it could mean that the entire batch, the results are so unreliable that you have to go back to the exhibits and resample.
My Lord, can I move?
Proceed.
Ms. Hingley, you were then taken through, Ms. Hingley, you were then taken through, or you were also taken through a number of comments you had made about contamination, the gloved hand touching the gun, the bag, the pistol on the floor, a lack of documentation from station to lab, and you were accused of mere wild speculation because you didn't have information as to whether these anti-contamination procedures were followed or not. Can you explain whether you were engaging in wild speculation?
No. We know how easy it is to contaminate, to transfer DNA. And in every instance I've highlighted, it's extremely poor laboratory practice, scene practice, and it therefore allows for a significant risk of contamination through the processing that's occurred.
My learned friend, sorry. I want to combine two points that have taken to you into one question. Both of my learned friend, Ms. Wakoli, put it to you that Mole cannot be excluded as a contributor on the barrel, the magazine, and the trigger. While my learned friend asked you if she can be removed as the shooter. My learned friend, Mr. Morgan. My question to you is, what are the significance of those particular findings?
In my opinion, when I very first had the case context, my expectation was that DNA from Molly and Henry and likely Patricia were going to be obtained irrespective of what's happened. Therefore, the presence of DNA from Molly, Henry and Patricia is totally expected, and it's reasonable to assume that their DNA is present.
Does that mean one of them shot?
No. The DNA result itself does not help address in any way who fired that gun.
Finally, Ms. Hinckley, my learned friend put it to you that your report is based on a bunch of assumptions. Can you tell this court what assumptions your report is based on? Or can you clarify whether your report is based on a bunch of assumptions? What's the assumption?
Always have assumptions. We never know exactly what's happened. However, they must be robust and scientifically able for challenge. In my final evaluation, even though I have highlighted significant risks to the integrity of any result obtained from the crime scene to the laboratory, through the laboratory, and then subsequent evaluation. Irrespective of all of that, my final opinion is that everything is perfect, the DNA results stand, and the DNA does not help to address who fired that gun.
My last question, having watched the evidence of PWA, do you disagree with him on that point? Having watched the evidence of PWA, do you disagree with him on that point?
My Lord.
Made.
Because as far as we are concerned, PW8's evidence was only to source level, not to activity level that she engaged in. So
okay, let me
I
ask,
don't see that arising now.
Let me ask it like that. As far as we are concerned, PW8's evidence was only to source level as opposed to activity level. Do you agree with him on that point?
No, I believe one of the last questions he was asked is, does the DNA help to address who fired that gun? And he said no.
So do you agree with him? So do you agree with him?
Absolutely, the DNA does not help to address anything in this case at all.
My Lord, I am done with this witness. Ms. Hingley, thank you very much.
If the court is ready to call our next witness. I think Ms. Samari wants me to say at 3. After lunch, we can do it at 4, but we will proceed for 1 hour. So my Lord, it is helpful, and then we adjourn. So it's helpful we start with our next witness tomorrow in the morning, Because now it's 2:30. If we take a 1 hour's break, we'll be here at 3:30 and then 4. So,
I agree.
but for us, we are ready. But let's do in the morning. And Ms. Hangle, thank you so much.
Are they calling a fresh witness or they are completing
Yes, my Lord.
finished business?
My Lord, we failed. I can address what my colleague is. We failed to get doctor for tomorrow. It's a Tuesday. His day is normally he has 3 days of surgery, so he has Thursday afternoon or something. So tomorrow we can't waste it, so let's call another witness, a fresh witness. Whenever he's available, fortunately he's in the country, we will call him to complete what he was left with. So he's a fresh witness. My Lord. My Lord, maybe for your guidance, now that today you can see what we did, can we maintain 9 instead of 10? So that, my Lord, we normally do much when, sir, 9, yeah.
But I'd hoped to work on it during the lunch break and then deliver it at the end.
Okay,
But
so
we'll
we
start
can
with it
receive it.
tomorrow.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
Lord, for us, we are not in a hurry with that ruling. Whenever you deliver it, we will record that witness when you allow us. It's okay. Much obliged.